Hello, my name is Stacey and welcome to my studio. Now today is Monday, which means we have Mindful Energize. Mindful Energize is my signature class where I've taken my experience as a Pilates teacher and a military circuit training teacher or fitness leader and combine it with the teachings that I'm currently learning in my yoga teacher training to create a class that is centered around being mindful and present on the mats, but also getting a nice little workout. So we do the sequence 3 times through. The first time I explain everything and break it down, explain the techniques. The second time we go a little bit quicker. The third time we go from start to finish nice and fast. So the idea is that we are in our session, we are concentrating and focusing on our body and our session. We are leaving everything else behind and really just bringing ourselves in onto the mat. We're also getting a really good workout and we get 3 tries at going through that sequence of exercises so we can really hone in on them and get good at them. So today we're going to focus on the legs, in particular strengthening around the knees. So if you do have knee injuries currently, make sure that you are wary about the exercises and work within your limitations. If not, give it a good hard go. Make sure you've got your little bolster or pillow and a comfortable surface that you can work out at, so a mat or something that you can lie down on, and I'll meet you over there. All right, so over at your mat, make sure you've got your pillow, bolster or blanket underneath your hips and you're on your comfortable surface or something that you can lie down onto. Now with the bolster, make it high enough so that your hips are open. You're in a neutral spine, so bring your hand to your back and feel your spine position. So you want to have that nice natural sort of curve in the back of your spine. Now if you feel like you're rounding through the back or your knees are up high or there's tension, if you feel under tension here, if you're uncomfortable, put some more pillows under your hips, sit on a chair, bring your legs out in front, do something different so that you are comfortable, so that you can sit down and go, this is nice. So the whole point of doing this part before we exercise is to connect into the body and feel as though you've arrived into your body and your session. So what I want really to get out of these sessions, this mindful energize, is to allow yourself the time to be in your body while you're exercising. I think it's really, really important. I think we work better because we are more aware of what our body's doing. And B, you get so much more out of it because you can walk away at the end understanding and realizing everything that you've done for yourself instead of putting your mind aside, doing stuff for an hour, just mindlessly getting it done, and then going back to your mind straight away after and saying, this is what I got to do, got to go get lunches ready, blah, blah, blah. So we're sort of taking the chance here to connect our minds into our body and to also detach it from everything else that's happening so that we have this beautiful mindful practice and you can walk away feeling calm and relaxed, but also energized because you've done a really good session. So let's come into that comfortable seated position. Wiggle around through the hips a little bit, rock forwards and backwards until you find your center point. Something I read in a book once called Wise Effort, which I really love. So that is, find that balance point where you're using just enough effort to sit, to keep your spine erect and your crown tall, and only that much effort, nothing more. So if you can balance your head over your heart and your heart over your hips in this beautiful long line, then you'll find your center of gravity and your wise effort. You're using just enough muscle and just enough strength to keep you here, and that is it. Now see if you can bring your attention to your belly and start to switch the belly muscles off a little bit. We're always active through the belly. As much as we might not think we do, we are almost always tucking our belly in during the day, whether that's because we're trying to suck it in or it's just an instinctual thing, get the belly switched on. We want to switch it off every now and then and let it relax and give it the rest that it needs. So just bring your breath now into your belly. So in through the nose and out through the nose. On your inhale breath, see if you can focus your attention or that breath to come into the belly instead of just the ribs. On the exhale, pull your belly button back into the spine, switch your belly on. So feel the difference between on and off when you breathe in And then when you breathe out, switch it on, belly button into spine. Breathe in, feel the belly. Let it relax. Breathe out, suck the belly button into spine. So this is very specific to Pilates, because when we do an exhale breath in Pilates, we contract the abdominal muscles, protect the spine, and use it for our hard part of our movement. So it can be a very hard breath pattern to get into because we're so used to filling the ribs, breathing in, filling the ribs, and sucking the belly in on the inhale breath. And then on the exhale, we release the ribs and release the belly. We bring the ribs in and release the belly. So the opposite, we want to do the opposite. We want to breathe in, fill the belly, and we want to breathe out, flatten the belly. So feel the difference. Just have a little play around here. Bring one hand to the ribs and one hand to your belly. Now just do a big breath in, filling your ribs. Now feel your ribs expand and open and your belly pull in. Now breathe out, your belly expands and your ribs close in or shorten. So now we want to breathe in, fill the belly. So you have to sort of start with the belly pulled in. Now breathe in, feel the belly. Breathe out, pull the belly back into the spine. So this is a really abdominal focused or belly focused kind of breath. And it's used a lot in yoga, that big belly breath, yogic breath. And you eventually go on to try and segment the breath. So you breathe in, feel the belly, then the ribs, then the collarbone. So you're filling the whole torso here with breath, and then exhale from the collarbone, from the ribs, and then the belly comes in. So it's like this wave of breath coming in and then wave of breath going out. Now that's something that we will practice just for a second this morning, just to sort of really get your mind into your body and your breath. This is sort of forcing you to think about everything here now and get everything else out, because we've got to really focus. So let's bring one belly to the breath, one hand to the belly, and just take a few normal, natural breaths in through the nose, out through the nose. Now next, inhale breath through the nose, fill the belly, then the ribs and lungs, then separate the collarbones, really fill it up. Exhale breath, bring the collarbones back together, imagine you're closing through the ribs or exhaling through the ribs, and then pull the belly into spine. Inhale breath, fill the belly, or open the belly, open the ribs, work all the way up, open the collarbones, feel your spine lengthen and your crown reach tall and your chest reach tall. Exhale breath, close through the collarbones, or imagine you're closing the collarbones. Close through the ribs. Last thing, pull that belly into the spine, close through the belly. So we're exhaling, expending all of that oxygen or carbon dioxide. Inhale, fill the belly. Ribs, collarbone, reach tall, open. Exhale, from the top down, collarbones in, close the ribs, really empty the ribs. Last thing, empty the belly, expel all of your air. Bring your hands back to your knees. Just go back to a natural breath now. Just feel how your breath is deeper now, because you've sort of spent that time imagining it filling your entire torso and then, emptying your entire torso. And that breath now is starting to naturally become a bit deeper and a bit longer. We're getting more in and more out each time, which is what we want. A few more breaths, reaching tall. All right, we're going to go into a warm-up now. So let's move our pillow, blanket, bolster off to the side. Keep it within reach, but because we'll use it again at the end. And we're going to rock over onto our right hip and come into this 4-point kneeling position, or what's called tabletop. Now, when we set ourselves up here, wrists are below the shoulders. Fingertips are sprawled out and pointed forwards. You want to push down through the fingers, so down through the fingertips, through the knuckles of the fingers, so the knuckles that connect your finger to your palm, and pull up in the palm. So what we're doing here is strengthening through the hands. We're switching muscles on around the wrists, so we're supporting the wrists as well. This also works all the way up into the shoulders. So now let's push up through the shoulders, really strong up through the shoulders, and get your knees so that they are below your hips and about hip distance apart. Untuck the toes or tuck the toes. So if you do have bad knees or your knees don't really particularly like kneeling, try tucking the toes and see if you get a little bit more engagement, a little bit more help from the muscles there. So let's take an inhale breath and reach forward with the chest towards the wall in front. Exhale breath, we're going to tuck the hips under, round through the spine and bring the middle of the spine up towards the ceiling. Inhale breath, sink through the belly, reach the tailbone and the collarbones apart from each other. We're not dropping the belly completely here and losing control. We're just opening and stretching through the front. Exhale, tuck the hips under, curl through the spine, bring the head down so your eyes are looking at your hips. Inhale to reach forward, sinking through the belly, reaching through the crown, through the tailbone. Now, this time, exhale, I want you to circle around the side. So around to the right, circle up, round, 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 until you get to the center. Inhale, circle around to the left. So keep the arms straight. All we're doing now is adding a little bit of lateral movement until we're at the bottom. Inhale, reach long through the crown, through the tailbone. Exhale, around to the right, circle. So bring the middle of your body out to the right and then start to round it up until we meet in this angry cat at the top. Inhale, bring your middle of your belly around to the left. Start to sink down, keep the arms straight. And then we meet here in this cow pose. So chest is reaching forward, head is reaching forward, tailbone is reaching back. And let's reverse that. So we're going to exhale now around to the left. So bring the middle of your ribs to the left and start to curl through the spine, tuck the hips under, bring the head so that the eyes are looking at the hips, meeting in cat. Inhale, breath. Pushing the ribs out to the left, to the right this time, sorry. Starting to sink through the hips, sink through the belly, and meeting here in this long position. Let's do another one here. So really elongate the breath, just like we did in that warm-up. Make it as slow and long as you possibly can with that breath. Inhaling as we come out to the right, opening up through the right ribs, sinking down, belly comes down into the mat, reaching long through the crown, eyes look forward, open up through the front of your belly. And let's come back to a neutral position. Now we're going to tuck the toes, sit back on the heels, reach out nice and long with your arms. Reach out nice and long. See if you can do some little twists from side to side. Now we're just going to get the legs ready and limber. So let's hinge forward again, back into this tabletop position, but we're a little bit extended now. Tuck the toes under, press the hips up to the sky. Bend the knees, really big bend in the knees. We're looking for length in the spine here. So we want the crown of the head pointing towards the fingers and we want the tailbone pointing towards the sky. Pedaling through the legs now, really slowly and gently. This is a strong position for your upper body. So if you're not quite strong enough in your upper body to hold this position, please do bring your hands up onto a chair or onto the edge of the couch so you're reducing the amount of weight and pressure going down through your arms, but you still can get the full benefit of this stretch. So hands can go onto a couch or a chair. Alternatively, you can do this on a wall. So you just bring your hands onto the wall, bring your head between your hands and still pedal through the legs just like this. But the ultimate goal here is that we open through the hamstrings, the back of the legs and the calf. So let's bring the knees together now, toes together in a nice big bend. Inhale breath. On the exhale, drop your right heel down towards the mat and really see if you can work it down towards the mat. Keep pointing the tailbone long and the crown of the head towards the fingers. So you're long and straight through the spine, and that will give you more stretch through the hamstring and calf. Inhale to bend the right, exhale to bend the left. Same thing here, keep reaching the tailbone up towards the ceiling. Keep visualizing a neutral spine in your back. Inhale back to center, bend the knees, come back down to the mat. I'm going to lower all the way down and just open through the belly now. So bring your elbows just below the shoulders, palms on the mat, and imagine you are sliding your elbows towards your hips, and this opens up through the front of the belly. Breathe here for a few. smaller breaths because we're slightly compressed in the lungs, but we just want to use that inhale breath to expand through the ribs and open the belly a little. And next exhale breath, we're just going to make our way back onto our heels. I'm going to take a big lunge forward and just open up through the front of the hip. So this stretch I do all the time because it is so good. So I've got my left leg forward, exaggerated or longer step with this lunge, so our foot is in front of the knee. Take an inhale breath, square your hips, so both of your hip bones are level with the front of your mat. Exhale breath, sink the hip down. Now if you don't like to kneel, so if kneeling isn't very good for your knee, an alternative we can do here. So we can come into this L sort of shape position. Bend your right leg so it's next to your hip and then lower back. So either onto your hands or onto a bolster underneath the elbows or come down to the elbows. And this will do the same thing in opening up the front of your hip here without the pressure or the weight in your knee if you can't weight bear through the knee. So let's take an inhale breath, come out of that stretch, we'll swap sides. Inhale, reaching tall, hips square to the front of the mat. Nice big long step with that front leg. Exhale, let's sink that hip into the mat, keeping the chest up. Now imagine you're opening through here to the front of your hip. Belly button's in, chest is tall. This is pretty much the perfect stretch for the front of your hip flexor. Now let's inhale, come out of that one. Bring that foot back to meet the other, so we're back in this bent sort of sitting over the hip position, heel position. Let's reach forward, bring the hands down to the mat. Inhale, breath. Exhale, press the hips up to the ceiling again. So we're back in this position. Hips are high, head is reaching towards the fingers, and find that spot. So we'll come to center now, a bit of a bend in the knees and neutral through the spine. Now let's take an inhale breath and float the right leg up towards the ceiling. So squeeze that glute, float it up. Exhale, tuck the knee into the chest, round through the spine like we did in that cat pose at the start. Hold this for a second. Feel your core working, feel your arms working. Now shift forward with your weight and land your foot between your fingertips. Now we're in this big, long, open runner's lunge, again opening up through that hip. Pull your chest forward, push your heel towards the back of the mat, lengthen through that rear leg. Feel that open in the hip. Now we're going to drop that rear knee down towards the mat, plant the left hand. On an exhale breath, open the right hand up towards the ceiling. Now feel this open up again through that hip, but it's changed a little bit on that left hip. Exhale, hand comes back down to the mat. Tuck the toes and straighten that rear leg. Take an inhale breath. On the exhale, we just step back into that downward dog position. So our hips are high, crown is pointed towards the fingers, and we've got a neutral spine in the back. Make sure that we haven't got all this rounding happening for straight legs. Bend the legs to accommodate for the back. Now big toes are together. Take an inhale breath, float the left leg up towards the sky, just stopping at hip level. Feel the glute active. Exhale, bend the knee, round through the spine, tuck that knee right into the chest. Hold here for a second, feel your core switching on. Pull that belly button in, feel the shoulders working. Now land the foot between the hands and reach long through this stretch. So we want to feel that hip on the right leg opening up, pushing that heel back towards the back of the mat on the right leg, straightening through the leg, reaching towards the front of the room. Drop that knee down towards the mat, plant the right hand, inhale breath as we reach the left hand all the way up to the sky. Feel that opening through the outside of that right hip. Inhale, hand comes back down to the mat. Exhale as we pluck this right front foot back into that downward facing dog position, again pedaling through the hamstrings. Now let's just slowly walk the feet up to meet the hands. So now we're in this sort of full forward fold, which is an intense position. You can take alternatives here. So bend the knees. You can bring your hands onto a chair or onto a couch. Whatever it is you need to find this comfortable. Another thing you can do is grab a book or a block or anything like that that you might have nearby and put it at the front and just rest your hands on it. But what we want to do here is feel an opening through the hamstrings, the back of the hips, and a folding through the front of the hips. So slight pedals here. Let the top of your body just completely relax over your legs. And breathe into the stretch. I can't emphasize that enough. When you breathe in, imagine the oxygen filling the stretching muscles. When you breathe out, imagine the muscles opening up just that little bit more. Inhale, fill the stretching muscle with breath. Exhale, relax the muscle a little bit more. Taking little pedals through the legs if you need to, and enough bend for you to be comfortable. So I don't want this to be painful for you, but I do want you to feel a stretch and an opening there. Now, take an inhale breath, bring your eyes forward, and slowly roll up through the back until we're standing. All right, now that's the warm-up done. We're going to bring ourselves to the center of the mat now and get started. So we've got 6 exercises today. Everything is focusing on the legs, particularly around the knee. And like I said, if you do have any knee injuries or problems with the knees, just test and adjust and see what works for you. So if you need to grab a quick drink before we get started, otherwise, let's go. All right, so our very first exercise we're doing together today is called a balancing knee extension. So we've got a few things going on here. Our bracing leg is going to be balancing using all the important muscles around the hips and the knee to balance, and the ankle to balance and stay stable. And our working leg is going to be using the quads, which is the front of the leg, to extend. Now, this is actually quite hard to do because you're working against gravity and against your muscle. So you're actually resisting yourself, potentially with a tight muscle at the back, and using the muscle at the front to extend and open up your leg. So it's great to do because you don't need any equipment. It's low impact. There's absolutely almost no, problems that are going to happen at the knee unless you have problems with extension and flexion. So let's come to a standing position. Feet directly below hips, toes pointed forwards, spread the toes out and plant your feet strong into the ground. Now I'm doing this off the mat purely because I feel a little bit more stable on the ground because I'm working on carpet. So if you've got your mat on wooden floor, definitely do it on your mat. But I just like a little bit more, I like to be a little bit closer to the ground when I'm doing balance stuff. Hands come to the hips, reaching tall through the crown, head over heart, heart over hips. Our spine is neutral, so find that nice neutral position. Now, if you find that you poke your bum out or you extend through the lower back, see if you can just tuck the hips a tiny bit and bring yourself back into a neutral position. So if this is something you know that you do, this bum poke, and you have a lot of extension here and probably pinching in the lower back and closing at the hip, then just do that tiny little movement here. Pull the belly button in just slightly to bring yourself back to this neutral position. So if you're not sure, have a look in the mirror and just have a look at your spine and what it's doing when you stand, especially if you're just standing lazily or you're not thinking about your posture. Sometimes you might just end up here, or you might end up here with your hips forward. So your glutes completely disengaged, your hips sinking forward into this sway back position where you are you're in like a bow, and your body is lazy. It's really lazy. Your abs are switched off, your glutes are switched off, and you're just resting here basically on your spine. So bring it all back to center. Get those muscles working a bit. Erectors around the spine are working. Core, glutes are just slightly engaged to hold you here. Now, once we're there, we're going to bring all of our weight over onto our right leg. So brace up through the right leg and imagine that you are still tall and still in that same position of both feet on the ground. So really brace through this leg and keep reaching tall through the crown. What we want to avoid is your hip popping out to the side or you lifting this hip. So what that is compensation for weakness in the glute muscles. So glute med and glute min, which are deeper, smaller glute muscles than our big meaty glute max. And they are often weak and often tight. So don't worry if you are doing that. That's why we do Pilates essentially, is to sort those muscles out. But for now, we're just going to focus on it. Focus on keeping it there and those muscles will start to switch on. Now we're going to float that left leg off the mat or off the ground and start to feel, hold it there for a second and feel your right leg working. Feel how much work it's doing to hold you here. Your ankle and all of the tiny muscles surrounding your ankle are on overtime here. This is their time to shine when you're balancing because everything comes from the floor up, obviously. So if you can't balance through your ankle and foot, then you're not going to be able to balance here. So just feel it. Really acknowledge that work that it's doing. And even if you are balanced and you're not moving around, there's still so much happening at your ankle. Now that's transferring up to the knee. There's a lot of little muscles around the knee which are controlling your knee and keeping it in line with the ankle. So as the ankle rotates and moves around, small muscles come up and then the knee responds to that movement. So then what happens is you have a little bit of rotation in your hip. Your hip's doing these little tiny rotation adjustments to respond to what the ankle's doing to hold you here. So in there, you've got your tiny hip rotators working really, really hard. And your hip rotators are your hip rotators are responsible for the positioning of your knee. So this is really important. It's really important to pay attention to this because simply balancing on one leg is pretty hard and it's an exercise in itself. So don't discount it and don't just think of it as I'm just balancing because you're not. You're strengthening all of these muscles. I'm already wobbling over the place because I'm starting to fatigue in those little tiny muscles. So it's something that you can see working instantly. Now you can have a chair or something beside you or be near a wall or something so that you can balance. If you want to do a little bit more, if your balance is letting you down a little bit but you want to keep going, do have something nearby. Don't rest on it. So don't just put all your weight down on it and bang through the exercises. Fingertip there just to correct you if you start to fall. Focus on this balancing leg. All right, so we're going to float. Let's have a little rest if you've been there for a little while. Now we're going to float our left leg up. So bend the knee, re-brace through that right leg. Float the left leg up until your leg is parallel to the ground, your thigh is parallel to the ground. Now our challenge here, draw this midline between your hips back into the spine so your T-zone is active or your deep core is active. Our spine is neutral, reaching tall through the crown. This is all about posture, this one. Think about the posture. So we inhale, reach tall. Exhale, extend that knee. Squeeze this muscle as much as you can. Inhale, bend the knee. Exhale, extend. Inhale, bend. Feel those muscles working hard. You might cramp up a little bit in the hip. That's okay. If your hip flexors aren't as strong, that's probably going to happen. So come down and rest. Give it a little stretch out if you need to. Just a little hip open. Then come back into it. We're going to do 10 of these in total. Every single time, set yourself up again properly. Bend the knee, bring the thigh up parallel. Now you're really aiming to point your toe towards the front of the room. Now that's hard work, that's really, really hard. This leg then starts to go well because you're throwing your balance off by extending the leg out, you're changing your center of gravity or you're changing the weight. So this leg's working really, really hard. Ankle, muscles around the knee, hip, controlling the knee. And this one, you're strengthening your thigh with absolutely no impact, no weight. You don't need anything and you're getting in there good. So we're going to do 10. We've done about 3 or 4. So let's just do 6 more. 1, exhale, inhale back in. Exhale out, inhale back in. 2, exhale out, inhale back in. 3, squeeze this muscle at the top. Exhale out, T-zone in, inhale back in. That's 4. Exhale straight, lengthen, point through the toe. Inhale back in, that's 5. Find the balance. T-zone tight, exhale out. Inhale back in, that's 6, 10 in total, rest. So if you need to rest between reps, please do. If you're cramping up in here, if your hip flexors are starting to feel like they're just on fire, rest. Another good point I think to make is that the hip flexors are always tied with the same brush of being tight and problematic. So they can be tight and weak at the same time. If they're tight and weak, that's the worst combination. But you really need to also think about strengthening the hip flexors. We're always stretching them. So most of the time, if you were to go to somebody and say, oh, I've got problems in my hips, they'll stretch your hips out. Your hips will get stretched here. Probably strengthened around here, but maybe not so much strengthened at the front. So we really need to focus on that. So if you're finding it really hard to keep your leg up, then that's a good sign that your hip flexors need a little bit more work. And this is a great place to start. So let's set ourselves up again. Toes are wide, really grounding down through the feet so the whole foot is in contact with the floor or mat, and you can feel all of that stability all through your foot. Reaching up through the crown, head over heart, heart over hips. Shoulders are down and back. Now let's brace over that left leg. Really brace it up. Feel, also I want you to focus on feeling the arch of your foot lifting. So that doesn't mean roll onto the outside of your foot. That means lift. Press your toes into the mat, press your big toe knuckle and all of your toe knuckles into the mat, and that will help you lift up the arch. Now that's going to be really good to strengthen the arch if you have problems with your plantar fascia or just plantar foot problems. So balancing that right leg off the mat. Feel the balance. So my right leg, generally I have more problems with my left leg because I've got problems with my piriformis in my right leg, which throws off my whole right hand side. So focus now on if you have a hard side and think, wow, that's, there's so much more work happening in my foot and my ankle and my hip to keep me here. Now float the right leg up to parallel. Make sure the hips are still level. We're not hiking up or popping out. Keeping that under control. Inhale, breath, tuck the T-zone in, shoulders down and back. Exhale, extend through that leg. Inhale to bend. Exhale, extend. Inhale to bend. Try your hardest to keep this thigh up or keep the knee up. If it drops down when you extend, that's fine, but bring it back up again. Exhale, extend. Inhale to bend, that's 3. Exhale, extend. Inhale to bend, that's 4. Exhale, extend. Inhale to bend, that's 5. Take a rest if you need to now. Give the hip a little rest. Rock through the hips. Stabilizing leg probably needs rest too. Let's come back up. Inhale, T-zone, shoulders down and back. Exhale, extend, reach through the toe. Inhale, bend. That's 6. Exhale, extend. Inhale to bend. That's 7. Exhale, extend. Inhale to bend. That's 8. Exhale, extend, shoulders down and back, T-zone in. Inhale to bend, that's 9. Keep resetting your base. Exhale, extend. Inhale to bend, that's 10. Foot to the mat. Whew. Great work. All right, I'm going to take a little step forward now. And we're going to go into what's called quarter scale lunge. So we go back to our left leg up, right leg stabilizing. Again, have a chair or something nearby to balance for this one. So same principles with our setup. Knee is up about 90 degrees at the knee, about parallel with the shin, with the thigh. Inhale, breath. Exhale, bend your right leg and hinge forward at the hip. So it's like you're going forward into like a deadlift position and your heel is coming up towards the sky. Inhale, come back, bring the knee back to the front. Exhale, bend the knee, bring the heel up at the back. Inhale, back to the start. That's 2, we're doing 10. Exhale. Chest comes down, straight line through the body like a falling tree. Inhale, back to the start. That's 4. Exhale, forward like a falling tree, heel to the sky, chest comes down towards the earth, but still straight. Woo. Inhale, back to the front. That's 5. So really working hard now on the stabilizing leg. Feel the quads starting to kick in, all the muscles around the ankle and the hip working hard to stabilize. Inhale, back to the front. That's 7. 3 to go. Exhale, back. Heel up. Chest comes down. Inhale, forward. That's 8. 2 more. Exhale. Heel comes back. Knee bends on that right leg. Inhale, 9, last one. Exhale, bend that right knee, bend it, bend it, bend it. Hip comes back, chest comes forward, heel comes high. Inhale to the front and lower down. Now it's handy to have maybe a wall just behind you so that when you hinge forward, you can just tap a little bit with the toe to balance. But having a chair next to you or something beside you will do the same thing. All right, let's set ourselves up. Float the right leg this time. Set that stabilizing leg. Arch comes up, toes push down, heel pushes down. Hip is square with the rest of your body. So we're in a big, long line. So inhale, breath, T-zone, shoulders down and back. Exhale, bend the left knee. Send that right heel back. Chest comes down. Inhale to come forward. That's 1. Exhale to go back. Hinge at the hip like a falling tree from your crown to your hip. Inhale, come forward. 2. Exhale. Heel goes back, chest goes forward, knee bends. Inhale, come forward. 3. Now you can keep hinging at the hip till you feel your hamstring go under tension. And that is basically a deadlift now we're doing in this leg. Inhale forward, that's 4. Now you can see my right hand side has so many more issues and you can see how much more off balance I am here. So it's really good for identifying your uneven side, your weaker side. This is 5. Exhale, bend at the hip, press the hips back, the chest comes forward, crown still reaches long. That's 6. Keep this belly button into spine. This is 7. Nice work. Keep the shoulders down and back. Keep that belly button drawing in towards the spine. Bend in this left knee. This is 8. Keep the hips square. Try not to pop out through the hip. This is 9. Last one. And this is 10. All right, great work. So everything around in the leg, working so hard there. Excellent work. So we're going to come down now to the mat. And we're just going to do what's called a bridge walkout. We're just doing 5 of these and I'll show you that. So we don't need too much cueing with this one. So we've sort of given your brain a rest after all of that really hard stuff we did on the single leg. So bringing our feet so that they're in line with the knee and the hip. So when you look down, there's a nice big long straight line. You can't see, your toes in the middle or on the outside. You want your feet to be, or the bottom part of your legs to be completely invisible because they're covered by this part of your leg. Now, pace the shoulders into the mat so they're flush into the mat. If you need to, sort of reach up through the middle of the spine, over-exaggerate the curve in your back, plant the shoulders down and then rest down onto the mat. So you're in a neutral spine, but your shoulders are planted in. Hands come down by the side. Now, take an inhale breath, the line between the hips, pull that down towards the mat. Exhale, squeeze your glutes, tuck your hips under, curl your spine up off the mat. Peeling 1 vertebrae at a time. So imagine articulating through your spine or peeling up a piece of sticky tape off the table. Now when we get to the top, there's that straight line from the armpit down to the knee. This is still pulling in between the hips and we have no tension in the lower back. If you've got pinching in the lower back, you really need to focus on this belly button to spine here, or just reduce your bridge so that you're not quite as high. But the goal at the end of the day is to try and have a straight line. Obviously, if you're not there yet, we're still working there. Now, we're going to take an inhale breath. On the exhale, walk your feet in towards your hips, come up onto the toes, keep going until you feel like your heels are as close to your hips as you can get them. Squeeze the glutes, squeeze the hamstrings, calves are squeezing here too. Take an inhale breath, exhale. We're now going to walk the feet as far away as we can get them from the body. Keep tucking this under. Don't let this dip down. Tuck under here. Tuck under through the hips. Try and pull the front of your hip into your rib. Tiny, tiny, tiny movements through the toes, walking out as far as we can go. It's kind of like we're doing a plank from our shoulder blades backwards. Keep going. Feel your hamstrings working hard. Feel your core pulling in. Inhale, hold here. Exhale, walk in. Keep the hips up, tucked under. We don't want to drop here because this is all going to be hinging on the back. Tuck the hips, get the glutes working, belly button in, keep walking in. Feel your legs, feel the transfer of muscles. So what muscles are doing what as we move? Glutes are on here, quads are on here, calves. Inhale, breath, exhale. Slow steps, tucking the hips under, belly button to spine, till we get to here, and then we just sort of wiggle through the toes. Keep pulling those heels away from the body. Feel your hamstrings working overtime here. Inhale, breath, exhale, walk in. Little steps, no more than a foot. Up onto the toes. Keep the hips going high, belly button in. Now if your spine or your lower back starts to pinch, rest. Rest down, then come back into it, or readdress your T-zone here. Inhale, exhale, walk out. We'll do one more of these. Wiggle through the toes. Inhale, exhale, walk it back in, back to a neutral position here. Inhale, T-zone, exhale, roll down. Reverse that curl this time. One vertebrae at a time, or at least visualize that. Keep the hips tucking under. The very last thing that touches is a tailbone. Now, just bring your knees into your chest. Feel your hamstrings on fire there. Have a little tuck in if you need to. You can straighten a little bit for a little bit of a stretch. Just let your body sort of relax. That one was really got everything going, switched on. All right, now we're going to roll over to our sides and come up into a kneeling position. Now, if you do have knee injuries and you can't weight bear through the knees, don't do this one. Omit it completely. Do one of the ones we did before, or just do a squat to the level or degree that you can do a squat. Now this one's called hinge, and this is going back into the quads. And again, really, really good for strengthening and isolating your quads without the use of a gym equipment or any form of impact. So super great because you can strengthen your quads, which are really important for your knees. But you're really just doing that. You're not putting any sort of impact through the body. And if you're at a point where you want to strengthen your legs, but you can't go to the gym because we can't, or you don't have any equipment at home, perfect. This is what you need to do. Knees just below the hips, reaching tall through the crown. Nice long straight line through the body. Glutes are switched on to hold you here. Spine is in a neutral position. Belly button's pulling in towards the spine. Now, arms out in front. We can start here. Start here and we'll sort of work our way. Take an inhale breath. On the exhale, you're going to hinge at the knee only. All this is knee flexion and extension. So we hinge at the knee back like a falling tree. Keep the hips forward, glutes switched on, belly button in. Inhale, breath, exhale, back to the top. Feel your quads switching on. Inhale, T-zone, pull the belly button in. Exhale, fall back, hinging on the knee like a falling tree. Inhale, hold, exhale, back to the top. We're just doing 5 of these. Inhale, exhale, falling back, hinging on that knee. Keep the hips forward. Now you can bring your hands out in front to add a bit more weight and a bit more challenge. So at the back here, do not do this. Okay, that takes everything away. So if you need to, if you feel like that's happening, squeeze the glutes, belly button in, don't go as far. Just do more small ones. Okay, if you're not feeling much there, see if you can go back a little bit further, staying in control the whole time. Don't lose control, that's the whole point. We'll do one more. Inhale, breath, exhale, falling back. Inhale, breath, exhale, lifting up, excellent work. All right, now let's come to standing. Quads again. Back into the quads again. They're really important for your knees. Super important for your knees. And this one we're going to use a little bit of what's called dorsiflexion. So pulling your toe up into your shin, and that's going to strengthen the front of your shin as well. So this one's like a crab walk. Well, it is a crab walk. So we come to a sort of wide position through the feet, squatting position. Inhale, reach tall through the crown. Exhale, sink back. Hips are back, knees are bent. Now, from this position, big toe, little toe, heel are all on the mat. If you're not there, if you're up here, come out of the squat a little bit until you are. Think about reaching your chest up towards the roof. not like, you know, over the top, above you, towards the roof in front of you. That's going to keep your chest high. Now, hands in front to balance, and we're going to take an inhale breath. On the exhale, lean over onto the right leg, step wide with the left, bring the right in. Inhale, exhale, lean over to the left, step wide with the right, step in. Good. Inhale, breath, exhale, step wide with left, draw the right in. Inhale, breath, exhale as we step wide with the right, draw in. Good. So we are doing 10 of these in total. We've done about 4 or 5, so let's do 5 more. Inhale, breath, exhale, step wide. When you get here, make sure your knees are still pushing out. Okay, if you are collapsing in, come out a bit, squeeze out. So imagine you're squeezing your glute muscles, trying to pull your knees apart from each other. Meet back at the center, 6. Step wide, meet together, 7. If your knees are come out, shake, do that. If not, just keep going. Step really, really wide. Woo, 8. Now you've got to really work with this leg as we balance back to that center, 9. 10, come up, shake the leg. Whew. Great work. I'm a bit puffed from that actually. We've done that pretty slowly. All right, our very last one we're doing is a squat to a forward fold. So again, we're working on our quads, really important for the knees, but also we're just going to open the hamstrings again. So coming to that squat position, feet nice and wide. Inhale, breath, reaching tall. Exhale, sit the hips back. Come into a squat position where all of your foot is on the ground. So for you, that might be here, totally fine. You might be able to get all the way down here and all of your foot's on the ground, totally fine. Whatever works for you. Now, take an inhale breath. Bring your hips high and your chest low. So all you're doing is extending through the legs and keeping your chest down nice and low. So you're in a forward fold like we did at the start. Exhale, bend the knees, hips come down. Keep the feet on the mat, all of the foot. If you can't reach the ground, use a chair and go through this range. But, you know, we're just really working through that movement. It doesn't matter how low you go. So we've got 5 of these. Inhale, reach tall through the hips, fold or bend. Exhale, hips come low, chest comes high. So it's just pivoting on your hip, on your knee really. Inhale, reach the hips high, chest comes low. Exhale, hips go low, chest comes high. Let's do 2 more. Inhale, hips high, chest low, straightening through the leg. Exhale, hips low, chest high. Standing up, stretch it out. Woo! All right, up half, that's the first round. We've got 2 rounds to go. Now, we're going to do that pretty quickly over the next 2 rounds. I'm not going to break it down so much. And you sort of just try and keep the points. I'll break it down the first few and then you just try and keep those points in your head. We're going to get a good burn in the legs. So let's grab a drink and then hook back in. Alrighty. Round 2, let's go. Balancing knee extensions. Let's come up onto the left leg this time. So changing sides, changing starting sides. Brace through the left leg, float the right leg. Inhale, breath, exhale, extend. Inhale to bend. Pull up through the middle of your foot, push down through the toes. Hip stays in, chest stays high. Exhale, extend. Inhale to bend. Remember, balance if you need to. That's 2. Exhale, extend. Inhale to bend. That's 3. Squeezing this muscle. Exhale, squeeze, 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 squeeze. Inhale, back in. Good. Keep the hip working. If you need rest, come out. Roll the hip. Exhale, extend. Inhale, that's 4. Exhale, extend. Inhale, bend. 5. 5 to go. Exhale, extend. Inhale, bend. 6. Exhale, extend. Inhale, bend. 7. Exhale, extend. Inhale, bend. 8. Exhale, extend. Inhale, bend. 9. Last one. Exhale, extend. Inhale, bend. 10. Land that foot. Have a shake through the legs. Reset yourself. Head over heart, heart over hips, hips over heels. Nice big long straight line on your center of gravity. Brace through the right leg, float the left up. Thigh parallel to the ground. Find your balance. Inhale, set the T-zone, shoulders down and back. Exhale, extend. Inhale, bend. Exhale, extend. Inhale, bend. That's 2. Exhale, extend. Inhale, bend 3. Exhale, extend. Inhale, bend 4. Exhale to extend. Inhale, bend 5. Rest if you need to. Come back in. Exhale, extend. Inhale, bend 6. Exhale, extend. Inhale, bend 7. Keep reaching tall. This hip stays in. Exhale, extend. Inhale, bend 8. Shoulders down and back. Belly button in. Exhale, extend. Inhale, bend 9. Exhale, extend. Inhale, bend. That's 10. Great. Now we're doing those quarter scooter lunge variations. So coming back to the first leg we started on, which was the right leg. So bracing through the left, floating upright, just a quarter of the way this time. You don't have to be all the way up, about a quarter of the way. Take an inhale breath. T-zone muscles between the hips pulling in, shoulders down and back. Exhale, bend forward at the hips. This part of your body is like a falling tree. So we're just hinging at the hips, finding length in this hamstring, heel comes high. That's 1. Going to go to, let's do 8 this time, and we're going to hook them in, no rest. Forward, back with the chest. 2, keep that knee coming up at the top. Exhale, come forward with the chest, heel high. Inhale, come up with the chest. That's 3. Exhale, forward with the chest, heel high. Inhale, back to our neutral position. That's 4. Exhale, hinge forward at the hip. Inhale, straighten up. That's 5. Exhale, hinge forward at the hip. Inhale, straighten up. That's 6. Exhale, find your balance. Keep working with that balance. Hinge forward, exhale. 7. Exhale forward with the chest. Inhale, back to our starting position. That's 8. Change sides straight away. Brace, toes down, float the left knee. Inhale, breath, exhale. Hinge at the hip, chest comes down. Inhale, back to where we started. That's 1. Exhale, hinge forward at the hip, like a falling tree. Heel comes high at the back. Inhale, back to our start. That's 2. Exhale, chest comes forward. Inhale, chest comes up. That's 4. Exhale, chest forward, straight through the body, hips hinge. Inhale. 5. Exhale, forward, heel up. Inhale. 6. Exhale, hinging at the hip, lengthening through that hamstring, tall through the crown. Inhale, forward 7, last one. Exhale, hinging at the hip, bending that knee. Inhale, up. That is 8. And into our bridge walkout straight away. We're trying to keep the rest down here so that the muscles stay switched on as much as they can. Set yourself up, straight line, middle toe, knee, hips. Get those shoulder blades pasted down onto the mat. Take an inhale breath. That line between the hips pulls down in towards the spine. On an exhale, squeeze the glutes, tuck the hips under, rolling up, peeling our spine. Very controlled, articulating through the spine, finding that range and articulation. Belly button comes into the spine, hips up nice and high. Remember, keep that belly on. Inhale as we set ourselves up. Exhale. Come onto the toes and walk your feet in towards your heels. Inhale, breath, set, exhale, walk out. Now keep walking out. Start to wiggle the toes as we extend out. Keep going as far as we can. Nice work. Inhale, breath, exhale, walking back in. Nice and slow, coming onto the toes. Whew. This is 2. Squeeze the glutes at the top there, really important. Inhale again, exhale, walk out. Wiggle through the toes. Nice work. Inhale, set, exhale. Tuck the hips under, keep the glutes working. Start walking back in. This is 3. Squeeze the glutes. Exhale as we walk out. Wiggle the toes, keep the hips tucking under, belly button in. Keep that tension off the lumbar spine and keep it in the muscles. Inhale, breath, exhale, walk back in. 4. Got 1 more here, squeeze the glutes. Belly button in. Walk it out. Start to wiggle the toes, tuck the hips under. Hold there for a breath. Inhale, exhale. This is 5. Squeeze the glutes, hips high. Inhale, exhale, walk out. Ooh, wiggle the toes, keep going out, tuck the hips under, belly button in. Really feel the hamstrings work. Walk it back in, neutral's position, inhale, breath, exhale, reverse that curl down to the mat. Whew. Oh, you can stretch out and rest there for a second, or you can tuck the knees into the chest. Alrighty, let's go into our crab walks. So we've got 10 of these, starting in the middle of the mat. Feet a little bit wider than hips, toes pointed outwards. Inhale, reach tall through the chest. Exhale, hips come back about a quarter of the way. Big toe, little toe, heel even. Belly button in, spine is neutral. Take an inhale, breath. Exhale, step really far with the left and bring that right into meet. So we're back here. Inhale, breath. Exhale, step out. Meet. That's 2. Inhale, breath. Exhale, step out. Back in. That's 3. Exhale, step out and back in. That's 4. So we inhale here. We exhale to step. We do the whole movement on the exhale. Inhale when we're back here. That's 5. Exhale. That's 6. Exhale. That's 7. Keep squeezing these glutes. Knees stay apart. Don't let them buckle in. Exhale. That's 8. Inhale. Exhale. That's 9. Keep this tension. Try and hold it as long as you can. Inhale. Exhale. 10. Stand up. Shake it out. Nice work. Now we've got 5 squats to forward folds. So nice and wide. Again, like we started the last position. Toes just out. Heels just wider than hips. Take an inhale, breath on the exhale. Push the hips back. Come into your squat. Big toe, little toe, heel must be on the mat. Okay, if you're leaning forward like this, come out of the squat a bit or lean on something in front so that you've got stability there. Inhale, reach the hips tall. Hips go high, heart goes down. Exhale, hips down, heart high. Inhale, hips high, heart down. Exhale, hips down, heart high. Inhale, hips high, heart down. Exhale, hips down, heart high. Last one. Inhale, hips high, heart down. Exhale, hips down, heart high. And inhale as we stand up. Phew. Second round done. Grab a drink. Then we're going to do our third. All right, round 3, nice and quick. We are going to go through this one after the other. No breaks, no rests. I'm going to reduce the amount of explaining I do so that we can pump through the exercises. All right, let's get ready. We got our single leg extension. Balancing now on the right leg. Floating up with the left. Set yourself up. Inhale, T-zone, shoulders down, back. Exhale, extend. Inhale, bend 1. Exhale, extend. Inhale, bend 2. Exhale, extend. Inhale, bend 3. Exhale, extend. Inhale, bend 4. Keep that belly in. Exhale, extend. Inhale, bend 5. Now linking them together. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Bringing that leg down, swapping over. Bracing through this left leg. Reaching tall, floating the right leg up. Belly button in, shoulders down and back. Inhale. Exhale, extend. Inhale, 1. Exhale, extend. Inhale, bend 2. Exhale, extend. Inhale, bend 3. Find your focus point to balance. Exhale, extend. Inhale, bend 4. Exhale, extend. Inhale, bend 5. Link together. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Great work. Now into our quarter skater lunge squats. So floating again now, the left, so bracing up through the right leg, floating the left leg up. Now inhale, set yourself up, T-zone in, shoulders down and back. Exhale, hinge forward at the hips. Inhale, come out. So we're going to go through this as quick as we can. This is 2. So we're challenging our balance a bit more now because we have less time to set it up, as you can see. Exhale, hinging at the hips, chest comes down. This is 3. Exhale to hinge forward, heel comes up, heart comes down. Inhale, back to our starting position. That's 5. Let's go. Let's add a little pace. 6. Do it as fast as you can if you need help with balance. 7. But we're challenging that balance now. Bend in that leg. Really good bend in that leg. 8. Keep that right leg stable with a bend. 9. And 10. Changing over straight away. Set yourself up through that left leg. Floating the right leg up around about 90 degrees or about a quarter of the way. Inhale, breath, T-zone, shoulders down and back. Exhale. Fold forward at the hips, hinging, bringing the heel up and the heart down. Inhale, back to our starting position. That's 1. So we're doing, this is 2, essentially a single-legged deadlift, which is hard. We don't have weight, so we're adding the balance challenge. That's 3. And remember, have something to help you if you keep falling over. It's pointless if you can't hold it. But we're just taking that fingertip. That's 4. Keep pulling that belly button into the spine or setting the T-zone. That's 5. All right, let's link them together as fast as we can. No rests in between. Feel the challenge and the balance. 6. Keep a bend in that left leg. 7. Nice work. Keep it there. 8. 9. Last one. And 10. Whew. All right, onto the mat, bridge walkouts. 5-bar bridge walkouts. So set the feet up, take an inhale breath, exhale, rolling up through the spine to we're at the top. Take another inhale breath, set the T-zone. Exhale, come onto the toes, walk the feet in close to the hips. Squeeze the glutes, press up. This is 1. Exhale as we walk out, keep tucking the hips under, wriggling through the toes till we can feel we're at our point. Inhale, reset the T-zone. Exhale, walk the feet in. This is 2. Inhale, reset. Exhale, walk out. Wiggle with the toes till we're at that point. Tuck the hips under. Keep tucking the hips. Think pubic bone to ceiling. Inhale, reset. Exhale, come back up. This is 3. Exhale as we walk out again. Tucking the hips, bracing through the lumbar spine with the core. Hold here. Inhale, breath. Exhale, walk back in. This is 4. Squeeze the glutes to the top. Remember, always squeezing. Exhale as we walk out. Oh, I'm getting sweaty. Hold here. Inhale, tuck the hips. Exhale, walk in. This is 5. Squeeze the glutes, squeeze the calves. Exhale, walk out. All the way out. As far as we can go this time. Tucking the hips under, not dropping or sagging through the hips. Pubic bone is aiming for the ceiling. Challenge the ankles a bit too. Keep the toes down. Inhale. Exhale, walk back in. Do one big slide this time. Back to our neutral position. Inhale, breath. Exhale, reverse that curl down. Whew, we're nearly done. Now tuck the knees into the chest if you need to. Just roll out a bit here through the lower back. We've got 2 left. All right, rolling up now. We're doing our little crabby walk. So this one we are going to do quickly. There's no pausing. Getting a good burn through the legs. Just outside hips, toes pointed outward. Inhale, breath, exhale, sink back. Quarter squat position. Big toe, little toe, heel. Keep reaching through the crown, reaching through the chest. Inhale, breath. Exhale, step and meet. Inhale, exhale, step and meet. 2. Inhale, exhale, step, meet. Inhale, exhale, step. That's 4. Inhale, exhale. Whew. Inhale, exhale. That's 6. Exhale to step. Exhale to step. That's 8. Exhale to step. Exhale to step. That's 10. Last one, squat to forward fold. So again, starting nice and wide. Neutral position, inhale, exhale, sink the hips back into a quarter. Now, remember this is all based on you and what works for you. So if any of this isn't working or your knee starts to get flared up, please regress or stop doing the exercise. But this is our last one. So hips go back into a quarter squat. Take an inhale breath. Hips come high, heart goes low. Exhale, hips come low, heart comes high. That's 1. Inhale, hips up, heart low. Exhale, hips low, heart up. 2. Inhale, hips up, heart low. Exhale, hips low, heart high. 3. Inhale, hips up, heart low. Exhale, hips low, heart high. 4. Last one. Inhale, hips up, heart low. Exhale, hips low, heart high. That is 5. Stand up. Woo. High five. Virtual high five. Well done. That was hard work. And you nailed it. If you got through all of that, you nailed it. And you should be very proud. Now, legs, obviously, worked really hard through that whole session. Hopefully your knees didn't get sore. If they did, or, if you're not sure about anything, just send me a message as usual. But let's come onto our mat now. We're going to lie down on our back. Arms are going to come out crucifix style. Start to breathe. So bring the feet wide as your mat. The knees can fall in together. Close the eyes down. Start to breathe. So don't control the breath just yet if you're still puffed. And if you are really puffed, pause the video. Walk around, allow your heart rate to come down a bit. Grab a drink of water. Don't stop moving. Keep moving. Keep walking around. But I want you to bring your heart rate down so it's comfortable for you to lie down. Now, let's all meet here with our heart rate down, however long it takes you to do that. If it's an extra 5 minutes of walking around, do that. Just pause the video. Now we're here, we're just breathing naturally, but we're just becoming more aware of our breath. In through the nose and out through the nose. Our feet are as wide as the mat and our knees are resting in together. Now let's take an inhale breath. On the exhale, we're going to rock our knees, both of them, over to the right. Feet stay where they are. We're just opening up through that left hip. Breathe here for a bit. Allow your body to come back to its natural state of calm. Inhale, bring the knees back to the center. Exhale, let's bring them all the way over to the left now. So you're feeling an opening down the right hip, the right hand side of the body. You don't need to use any force or pressure to hold yourself here. Just allow your body to relax and rest. Let gravity do the work for you. Keep breathing and focusing on getting that breath back to its natural rhythm. Inhale, come back to the center with the knees. Now we're going to walk our feet in just a little bit so that they're about hip distance apart. Bring your right foot off the mat and cross it over your left leg so that your right knee is sitting above your left knee, and it's like you've got your legs crossed. So your right shin is on the outside of your left leg. Take an inhale breath. On the exhale, we're going to fall the knees over to the right again. So now this turns into a beautiful twisting open in the spine. Breathe here. We did this stretch on my yoga teacher course this weekend, and I absolutely loved it. Such a beautiful opening for the spine. Inhale, come back to the center. Uncross the legs, so bring your right foot back down to the mat. Now lift your left foot off the mat and cross it over the right leg. So your knees are stacked, or your left knee is above or next to your right knee, and your left shin is on the outside of your right shin. Take an inhale breath. On the exhale, let your knees fall down to the left. Again, just letting gravity do the work for you. If this is too intense, you can simply uncross the legs. But feel that stretch in the lower back. So anything we do when we are working on or around the hips, the back is working really hard as well, because it's holding that neutral spine through movement, or it's trying to hold that neutral spine through movement. Inhale, come back to the center. Now we're going to bring our right knee into the chest. So grab on or lace the fingers behind the thigh of the right leg. Now straighten or bring the toe towards the ceiling and feel a stretch down the back of the right hamstring. You can also grab behind the calf if you've got that range. Allow there to be a bend in the knee there. Take an inhale breath, and if you're comfortable with it, exhale, extend that left leg away from the body. Now it's important we stay in a neutral spine here. That is that little tiny gap in the lower back or the tailbone pointing towards the end of the mat. What we want to avoid is tucking under, rounding through the spine and the tailbones lifting and peeling up towards the ceiling, because this just turns into flexion of the lumbar spine and it takes away from the stretch. So whenever we're thinking about stretching our legs, especially the hips need to be neutral, or the spine needs to be neutral. And lower that leg down, probably feeling that in the quad because we used it so much today, so we won't hold it for very long. Lifting that left leg up now towards the chest, lacing the fingers behind the thigh or behind the calf, just not behind the knee. Bring the toes up to the ceiling or the heel up to the ceiling. Take an inhale breath in. If you're comfortable, exhale, extend that leg out. Now, if you do get lower back pain, keeping this knee bent will be great for you. If not, extend out, open up. Breathe here. You can roll through the ankle if you need. And exhale, let's bring that leg back down to the mat. Draw the right leg back in and let's tuck the knees into the chest, drawing them in one at a time. Just a gentle tuck into the chest. So we're allowing that little bit of flexion or curve in the lower back now because we're trying to open it up and stretch. It's really hard to get in this position here without flexing through the spine. If we've got our knees right into the chest or you know, whatever works for you. If out here is good, then just do that out there. By now, hopefully our body is back to its comfortable, natural state. We will be still a little bit, our heart will still be working hard because after we exercise, we sort of increase our metabolism a little bit and our heart rate works a little bit harder. Resting heart rate sort of works a bit harder, but that's a good thing because you still keep burning fat or keep in that sort of post-exercise euphoria. Just doing little rocks now through the spine. So tuck the knees in and then untuck, rolling through the back. Lovely work. Let's bring our feet back to the mats. Now we're just going to go for a gentle stretch through the quad. Oh, my words did not want to come out then. So let's roll over to the right hand side and grab onto your left foot. So bring the knees together, try and get the hip forward. And we're just opening up now. You'll feel that all through the front of your leg. So we did so many exercises today that got into that. Do you know what I just remembered? I forgot to do hinge in the last 2 rounds. That's okay. So knees are together, hips are forward. Keep breathing here. Just let go of that leg gently. Bring yourself into a big long line again. Roll all the way over to the other side. Same thing. Bring the knees together. I'm going to face away from you, which is quite rude, but it's only for a short stretch and I don't really want to move around too much because I'm feeling relaxed. Knees together, hip forward. Breathing here, feeling the stretch. Now let's bring the feet back together, rolling back until your back is on the mat. Let's bring the feet nice and wide, hands nice and wide. Have a look down, make sure you're in the center. And we're just going to spend a few minutes here just connecting. Bring those shoulder blades flat against the mat again. Get yourself comfortable. And this part of Mindful Energize is almost the most important. So I think it's really important after you exercise to calm the body back down again Bring yourself back to center. Return your mind to your breath, and you'll find it's a lot easier to keep the mind calm. Just as the body does through exercise, the mind can get fatigued thinking about all the things we need to do, especially when we're really focusing on our technique like we do in Pilates. And you'll find that it's pretty eager to just relax now. And this is a perfect time to sit in stillness and allow it to be still before we carry on with our day. As you breathe here, just feel that lovely energy in your body. You've just created all this beautiful energy in your body by moving it. And not only moving your body, we've limbered, we've stretched, we've opened up sections of tight body. We've exercised areas of weak body. We've improved our bodies today substantially. Just feel that. Feel how good you feel after exercise and bask in that euphoric feeling. Those chemicals that we create in the mind that are released into the body when we exercise. And just allow that to fill your being. Your mind can stay still. And just enjoy this moment of happy stillness. Now slowly just coming back into the room. I learned something incredible in my yoga teacher training on the weekend. So this position that we're in here is called Savasana, or corpse pose. And it is used at the end of yoga to essentially mimic coming to stillness or coming to a little death. Now that's probably a morbid way of talking about it to the general public, but basically the idea is that you wake the body up at the start of the session, you work and invigorate throughout, and then at the end you bring the body back to rest and to sleep. And this last part is allowing you to essentially come out of this reborn, out of this experience of you've gone through this life cycle through your exercise. In Savasana, we lie, we allow our body to become completely still. And then when we roll to our side, which we're going to do now in your own time, we are mimicking a rebirth of a new you, which is really beautiful, I think, because essentially that's what we've done. Come up to seated now when you're ready. And when we sit up now, just feel how different you feel now than when you first sat down on your mat at the start of this session. I feel like a new person, and that's essentially what we want out of this session. You know, we want to feel renewed at the end. We don't want to walk away feeling wrecked. We want to feel renewed and reborn and rejoiced. Sit nice and tall, take a deep breath in. Just let the exhale out through the mouth. Let's do another one of those. Deep breath in through the nose. Let the exhale out through the mouth. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed that session. I certainly did. So again, I'll see you on Wednesday for Pilates, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye.